when you were last on the program, we were talking about the need for the two parties to cooperate together on fiscal choices. And, they, to a certain extent, they did that to avoid a government shutdown in September. But it also resulted in Speaker Kevin McCarthy becoming former Speaker Kevin McCarthy. And so now we have a new speaker and a new deadline of November 17th. So I wanted to just begin by getting your impression of the current situation and whether or not with the new speaker, Mike Johnson, they will be able to find a way out of this shutdown dilemma.
Well, first of all, thank you again for inviting me on. It's really a pleasure to be with you, Bob, as well as Tori and Steve. And I just want to say one thing about Concord Coalition. For the many years I worked on the Hill, the term Concord Coalition was a wonderful metaphor because I think its origin was the British are coming, the British are coming. It was a warning to the American people of an invasion. And a lot of people on Capitol Hill did not take the deficit seriously. And now they are. And to me, the term, just the concept of Concord Coalition is a perfect metaphor for where we are today. And the role the Concord Coalition has played for decades in warning Congress and American people that we can't go on forever borrowing the way we have been. We just can't do it. Something bad is going to happen. And so I just want to just take my hat off and commend you for the incredible work that your organization does. And really,
well, on behalf of Paul Tsongas and Warren Rudman, thank you. And,
yes, thank
and Pete
much.
Peterson.
In terms of where we are right now, well, the November 17th is the deadline by which Congress is going to have to extend funding. So that's in about 2.5 weeks, a little over 2 weeks. And, we obviously have a new speaker now, but if you look back at history, the funding, spending, keeping the government open has been the thing that brought down John Boehner. It essentially brought down Paul Ryan, or would have brought down Paul if he had remained in Congress. And now it's brought down Kevin McCarthy. I honestly don't see any reason why the same fate does not await the new speaker as his predecessors, because there is a wing of the Republican Party, and it is not the majority wing, to be sure. It is not a majority of the Republican Party, but it is a very vocal and influential part of the Republican Party, especially in the House, that just does not accept the notion of governing. And because of their unwillingness to govern and their unwillingness to accept the concept of compromise, compromise is the core of success of any democracy. If parties don't do compromise, then democracy can work. And if they don't, then the democracy fails. And they do not accept the notion of compromise. So I think in the short term, which is to say for the next few months, it is likely another continuing resolution will pass, because the far right, the new Speaker Johnson, is on a honeymoon. And I think they're willing to cut him a little bit of slack and allow another continuing resolution to pass. But that probably will get you into January, and then what happens? And then ultimately, you're going to Speaker Johnson will be faced with the same dilemma or the same challenge that his predecessors have. In terms of the continuing resolution passing, and then I'll be quiet and pass the baton back on to Stephen Tory. The question will be, but at what level? Because the question is, what will the spending level be in the new CR? And we've already seen that House Republicans in the spending bills that they are marking up are breaking the debt ceiling caps that were agreed to just a few months ago, caps which Democrats thought were far too low, but they begrudgingly agreed to. And then the Republican majority and in the Senate, has the Republican minority in the Senate, has gone along with that agreement, but House Republicans have gone way below it. The CR they're now talking about will be 1% below, I guess, a freeze, and probably will have all sorts of riders attached to it on issues like abortion and climate change. So it is going to be dead on arrival, whatever they send to the Senate.